Hey, fight fans, welcome back to Carlo Prusa MMA. Today with a very special treat. We have UFC fighter. He is the Maniac. He is Mr. Marcus McGhee. He's got a big fight coming on against Jonathan Martinez. Marcus, how are you doing, my friend? We're not too far away from the contest, but originally you had another opponent, then opponent change, and now you're getting someone who just fought Jose Aldo and Jonathan Martinez. Overall, were you excited with the new opponent?
Yeah, absolutely excited about him. I met Jonathan Martinez after my first fight, and just a super awesome dude. I've always looked at his fights too, so to be getting the challenge, someone that at his caliber, I mean, I'm super excited about it for sure.
You know, in addition to fighting Jonathan Martinez, you get to do it at UFC 309. John Jones, Stipe Miocic. If you listen to anything that Dana White says, John Jones is the greatest of all time. He's the greatest ever. I agree with him. But yeah, to be able to fight on such a big card, what is that like?
Yeah, that's huge, because that's one thing I did want to do. And had I fought Amon like I was supposed to, it would have been in the Apex, which again, for me, that was a great fight as well. I would have loved to test myself against Amon as well. But definitely a bigger platform and a place I've never been. And I'm excited about that for sure. It's a blessing to be on a big card like that and to fight at a monumental place like MSG. So yeah, I'm super excited and thankful.
You know, obviously you've been doing really well in the UFC. You've been picking up fight of the night bonus after fight of the night bonus. To be able now to fight in front of a crowd and fans, is that something that you feel like you've been missing?
Yeah, you know what I'm missing? I don't know, but I definitely think I have a fan-friendly style. And I would love to feel the energy and just to, get that type of platform to be out in front of that many people and, speak a little bit of my mind and what I like to push. So the fact that I have the opportunity for that is pretty awesome. And it's pretty surreal. So I'm definitely excited about it.
You know, you've been making an impact in the UFC right from the Journey Newsom fight. You know, you took that fight on short notice. That was your UFC debut. Do you remember where you were at when you got the phone call that you were getting signed and you're going to get the opportunity?
Yeah, I was driving home from jujitsu practice. I had just got done doing jujitsu, and I was just kicking it out back with my boy Jack and talking about the fact that like I was staying ready for a short notice, and and then he was making jokes like, "Yeah, you could be ready to fight this weekend." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. Yeah, if they called me, I'd be down to fight this weekend. Anybody, And minus even it being the UFC. Jumped in my truck, got about a mile up the street, was about to go get clean eats get some food, and got the call from my coach letting me know, hey, I think you're going to be taking a step up. Go home, pack up, and I think we're going to get a call that you're heading out to fight in a couple days.
You know, in that fight, that was so amazing. You're able to pick up a nice rear naked choke win. Can you walk me through that finish? Walk me through the closing sequence of that one?
Yeah, the left hand dropped him. The left hand had landed multiple times. I didn't feel like that was the hardest left hand, but I think it was just the timing, distance, and range of the left hand. Left hand sat him down, and then I went to go throw some ground and pound, and he gave up his back. And at that moment, I was just like, I trust my grappling skills as well. So went down there to, see what was going on, and picked up that rear naked choke. He just made a little bit of a wrong adjustments, didn't fight the hands and went to go fight the arm instead and made that mistake, and I was able to capitalize.
You know, one thing that it's evident if you watch you fight, you're a very well-rounded mixed martial artist. Obviously, you have some of the craziest hands. You can also handle yourself on the mat. At what point in the career did you really feel, if I want to make a run here in the UFC, if I want to get to the highest pinnacle of this sport, that I need to be as well-rounded as possible?
Early on, just training with the guys I trained with and training as much as we train, I knew early on that it was going to be being one dimensional, especially where the sport is going from where the sport came. It's just never going to be the play. Plus, just having those options, just having those having the opportunity to mix up things and become a unique fighter was always something that was interesting to me. So early on, I knew even before my pro career started, I knew I was like, okay, I need to have everything. I need to be able to box with the boxer, kickbox with the kickboxer, taekwondo with the taekwondo, karate with the karate, jujitsu with jujitsu, and I need to be able to do it at the highest level to be able to mix and match those things when needed.
You know, you've been very open about it that you've come a long way. You've come through a lot of obstacles in your life. You've overcame so many things. How has mixed martial arts helped evolve you as a person, as a father?
Honestly, hugely. It evolved me as a person, evolved me as a father, and evolved me as a follower of Jesus Christ. It really it humbled me to notice that I needed change. It humbled me to notice that I needed discipline and I needed to withhold from self instant gratification so that I could become the man that He had put me here to be. And it was hard for me to break out of those things, but through being diligent and staying consistent in my mixed martial arts career, a lot of that stuff started to trickle into my regular life, brought me closer to God. Like I said, that was one of the hugest things for me as well, giving me that foundation of faith. So for me, it was huge, and it's still something that I'm super thankful for.
How did you get your start in this? How did you find the boys over at the MMA lab?
So I was over at the UFC gym. Which again, I had a different coach. We had our gym, which was called Dog Pound. Aaron Favors was my main coach at that point, but we were cross training with the UFC gym all the time because I had trained there first before moving over to Aaron. And through training at the UFC gym, I got to train with Randy Stanky and Kyler Phillips and a bunch of other different UFC fighters, Keone Diggs that are MMA from the lab, Keone Diggs that had came over to the UFC gym. And just through creating those relationships they continuously told me for honestly too long. It took me too long to make the move. They told me a long time, like, hey man, if you want to take this serious, come over to the lab and start getting in these rounds with these guys and these different bodies and different minds, and take your career to the next level. And it took me long enough to get there, but the moment I walked through the door, I knew that this was the place for me and that this is where I was going to spend my career.
You're going out there right now and you're making it look easy. All the performance in the UFC, just winning in spectacular fashion. Obviously, you're making a name for yourself as someone. You have to star. Marcus McGhee's fighting yet for the star beside it because fireworks are going to be there. Getting a finish, fighting with an entertaining style, is that something you take a lot of pride in?
Honestly, I wouldn't even say I take a lot of pride in it. But it is something that that's just how I want to perform. Like I definitely want to perform to my highest capabilities, to my highest self, and I train to do such. And with the surroundings that I have, I feel like I have all the opportunity in the world to do that, to show up and do that. So I do want finishes. I do want excitement. I do want these things, but I am not actually too set on these things or attached to these things either. They're just what comes with all the training I do. So I'm not attached to it or prideful for it, but it is something that I am.
The last time you were out, you took on Gaston Bolanos, and I mean, you finished in spectacular fashion with a standing TKO. Following that victory, are you really feeling a lot of attention, maybe via social media, whether it be being recognized in person? Do you really feel a lot of attention coming your way now?
Not more than usual, really. I get a occasional surprise here and there, but no, honestly, I didn't really. I thought that finishing a guy like him that has so much credibility and has done so many different things in the fashion I did, I genuinely thought it was going to be a life-changing blow up type of thing, really. But nothing, not too much really changed, and I think that's kind of how I just keep my life too. I don't think I pushed into it too much because I just don't focus on that as like being the fruit of my labor. You know what I'm saying? I was so super thankful and grateful to go out there and have a performance against him like I did, but that necessarily wasn't the fruit of the labor. It was everything in behind the scenes. So no, I didn't really feel like a big shift in like whether people knew me or not.
The sport has evolved and has come such a long way from the last 15 to 20 years. And I think one of the ways in which it has evolved is personality. Now, to really be a huge star in the mixed martial arts, you have to have charisma about you. You have to have a personality. Obviously, there's guys that put on characters, they put on facades, they be somebody they're not, just to try to get there. You're a guy, you stay who you are. You represent yourself, you stay true to yourself. How important is that for you?
Extremely important, more important than a lot of things in this whole journey. I plan to reach the highest heights, but in the midst of reaching those heights, staying true to who I am and staying true to my roots is very important to me, and not stepping out of the where I'm called to be, and then being present in this moment too, being present in these moments, so that I can stay into who I am. And plus, I really feel like keeping up character and all that stuff, that's a lot of energy, um, that that are exuding in places that are not fruitful, you know? So for me, I feel like it bears a lot of fruit, not even in people's eyes, but in the things that happen behind closed doors. It bears a lot of fruits. And the man I've become, and the teammate that I am, the husband and the father I am, and those are the things I'm most proud of.
What do you think are the biggest lessons that your kids can take away from your time as a mixed martial artist from your life?
The biggest one I think is doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what mistakes you've made in your life. It doesn't matter how far down the path that you feel like or how much you feel like you're not seen, or that you've done too much and you're not worthy, that you can still jump on that path and just start, plugging away, and that anything is possible if you believe it and you're willing to go out and do everything it takes to get it. And it's not going to be easy, and there'll be days where you feel like you don't want to do it. There'll be days where you feel like you're a failure. There'll be days where you feel great, and just embracing each one of those days and knowing that if you put in the work, then you're where you need to be.
What's the ultimate goal here for you, Marcus? What do you want to accomplish here in the UFC?
I just want to use my platform mainly, to glorify God first, above all. You know what I'm saying? To glorify God and what He can do in somebody's life and make a change, and then also just to show people that they're seeing. There's a lot of depression, a lot of different anxiety things that people are dealing with, and people taking their lives constantly. And I just want to be a positive light to people that maybe have felt that or been through things and maybe don't want to be here anymore. To let them know, like, hey, you're seen, you're loved, and you're blessed. We're all blessed with each day that we're given on this earth. So I just want to keep pushing positivity, and I want to also show that, like, it goes a long way as well, that you do not have to put on these characters and these facades and all these other things. You can be genuine to who you are and stay inside of your roots and still achieve everything else that maybe putting on a character would get you, because there's this connotation that you have to switch up. I feel like push into the things that you are more, because there's plenty of people that want to see those things as well. And again, it's not part of the culture for people to look at the fathers and the husbands and it's not as flashy, you know what I'm saying? But those are the things I'm pushing. I want people to be better fathers. I want people to look at me and be like, hey man, I want to be a better father, follower of Christ. I want to be a better father. I want to be a more intentional husband. I want to be a better leader in my community. I want to build myself to have abundance, and structure my life that way. So that's one of my biggest goals. And as far as fighting goes, I want to get to the top. I would love to hold the belt. Again, it's not my focus because I still don't think that the fruit of what the belt represents is the fruit, but I obviously know that that's the highest platform, right? Holding the belt, getting to that is the highest platform, to be able to spread that message, to be able to be under those bright lights and that shine, to be able to do the things that I want to do to help others, So, it'd be a blessing if that's what comes with it, but if I can do the other things first, those are my biggest and most important things.
For you, what does it mean to call yourself a mixed martial artist?
It means discipline, it means sacrifice. That's what it means, like I think from the outside in, you see a lot of people, they see glory and they see fame and they see all these things that the day in and day out mixed martial artists, even if they're in it, is humbled to daily, so that's what it would mean to me.
So many people watch this sport, man. I mean, so many people watch the UFC every single weekend. They see the Sean O'Malley's, the Conor McGregor's, the Usmans, the John Joneses, and they're like, oh, wow, what a great life. How amazing it is to be a fighter. Little do they know, being a professional mixed martial artist is probably one of the hardest things you can do, in my opinion. When you're battling it out on the regional scene before you make it to the big shows, obviously, as you can attest to, you're not making millions of dollars fighting in that low platform. A lot of guys have 9 to 5 jobs at some point to start. You have kids, wife, all different things to take care of. You have to pay to train. You have to get punched in the face, deal with a bunch of killers who want to make it there as harder and much as you do. Obviously, you're in the UFC. You're not making regional money. That part is starting to become better and better every time you fight. But are those sacrifices still there? Is that something you just have to push through every single day?
Something you have to push through every single day, outside and inside of camp. Honestly, I feel like I've made major growth. I haven't fought since January. I have been ready to fight since January, and it's just been like figuring out the fight and what the UFC wants to do and what my managers want to do. So literally, like, that's why I look up to Mario Bautista so much, because looking at his work ethic through the years, this guy grinds 6 days a week, 7 days a week, sometimes twice a day, putting in the work day in and day out, whether or not fight camps are in or not. There's a growth mindset there, and that's a huge mindset to have, taking into this thing we call mixed martial arts, because I do run into that, and it's more in family and people that know you that think like, oh, you have 3 wins and 3 bonuses in the UFC, you're rich. And it's like, no, that's not what it. I don't understand how that is even what you see. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, the discipline of constantly holding myself to a certain standard each and every day, inside and outside of camp, whether a paycheck's coming or not. Because I don't think people realize we get paid when we fight. You know what I'm saying? So all those hours spent not in a fight camp, still diligently given to yourself and building and investing in yourself, uh, are like on the back burner of you actually getting a fight to get paid. So it's ironic that people feel that way about us, but I think it's just because other sports have kind of put it out there that way. And obviously we want to put MMA out there as well. We want to have big stars, and we want them to get that world renowned recognition, even if we're not necessarily making these $1 million contracts.
So overall, what do you think of Jonathan Martinez as an opponent?
Super tough, super durable, super experienced. I have a lot of respect for him, and he's very versatile as well. He can mix it up very well. He is a well-rounded fighter as well. And again, it's a guy who has a lot of experience against a guy who's just coming in. So I definitely look forward to figuring out that puzzle that Jonathan Martinez is, and doing it in emphatic fashion.
Stylistically, what do you think about this contest?
I think it's a great matchup. It makes sense. I really do. I think that the fans are going to win in this one for sure. Stylistically, we match up well. He does a lot of good things, and I do a lot of good things, and it's going to be who can make those adjustments and who can find those shots in those moments, in those small moments, in those small windows that the regular eye can't see. So I definitely think the matchmaking and the UFC did their thing on this one.
Do you see any chance maybe this one is the one? This is the coming out party. Could you see the big win, dominant win over Jonathan Martinez? In the back of your mind, is this one that, okay, this is going to levitate me into the top 15 and further?
You said it. You said it, not me. And honestly, again, I have all the respect in the world for Jonathan Martinez, and I think that I'm going into battle. You know what I'm saying? I plan for battle. I plan for the biggest thing. But yes, I do think that as well. Why not me? Why am I not capable? I've been given all the same opportunities that he's been given, right? And now it's just time to go out there and do what we say we're going to do. And I do think that, again, I go out there and win in emphatic fashion as I have in the past. It will definitely I definitely think it's going to make people's eyes turn toward me. I couldn't imagine me going out there and doing damage to a great guy like Jonathan, and people still looking past me.
What would the Marcus McGhee 10 years ago say if you told him he'd be in the UFC and he'd be a position to crack the top 15?
Yeah, yeah. He wouldn't believe you. He wouldn't believe me. He would, even if it was me telling it to him, he wouldn't believe me. That guy was a knucklehead and probably still is a knucklehead. But I think he'd be super proud of, not only because there's a lot of things I wanted to be and I wasn't confident to be those at the time, and I let my circumstances dictate my reaction. I reacted to things the way I didn't want to react, and I always wanted to hold a bigger, better power than that over myself. And once I submitted that all to God and found who I am, and I still struggle daily. I'm not saying I'm perfect and I don't struggle daily, but at the end of the day, the person I was 10 years ago couldn't believe that I could be a faithful, loving, caring husband, father, provider for my family, teammate, community, like that. People would come to me with their problems and I would actually be able to give them real advice that's going to be fruitful in their life. Like, to be able to be that person is just super mind-blowing and surreal, and I'm just so thankful.
In addition to fighting, you're also a skateboarder. How did you get into that, man? How did you get in the whole world of skateboarding?
So it's more like, how did I get into fighting? You know what I'm saying? Because really, if you go back to me, anywhere between the age of probably 12 to 21, basically, everyone knew me as the kid who could fight and would fight you at the skate park, but that it was the kid that was doing huge frontside airs and blunt fakies and kickflip and backside flips downstairs, and the kid that was going to go pro, because that was my focus. I love skateboarding. Skateboarding is one of my first loves. That's another thing that did keep me out of so much trouble. That also put me into different atmospheres. That showed me different things, showed me different people, different lifestyles. That showed me that there's other things than the life that I thought that I should be living, and that I should go out there, open my eyes, and be able to chase it. So, skateboarding actually got me into everything else.
Are you still doing like going to the skate park? Are you still doing the jumps and like the half pipes and all that?
All that, man. Yeah, I still get down. Obviously, I used to be better at another point, but man, I still got I got I was gonna say a handful, but I got a bag of tricks, bro. Whether it's on transition, I got rail tricks. I can do gaps and stairs. We can do ledges, flat ground, play games of skate. Like, yeah, we get down. Obviously, closer to the fights, just being smart and understanding that this is my business and business is part of life, and I have to make smart decisions. I do put the board away. So the board is put away, but if it needed to come out right now, I could bust a tray flip, probably second, third try, no doubt.
All right, Marcus, last question for you, my friend. In a perfect world, what is the outcome when you take on Jonathan Martinez at UFC 309?
In a perfect world, I have the best performance of my life, and I go out there and finish Jonathan Martinez in any type of way that it comes, whatever is given, and then give the glory to all the glory to God and thank my opponent.
All right, Marcus. Well, thank you so much for talking to me today, man. I'm so excited to see you fight. I'm glad you're finally getting back in there. And I really think, man, this could be the one that puts you on that whole new stratosphere. So I'm really excited to watch you get busy.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Definitely looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to all. Honestly, it doesn't take much to get me too excited, but Jonathan Martinez is a stud, and I'm definitely looking forward to grace the cage with him, and then just get another opportunity to do what I love to do. This is a blessing to be able to wake up each and every day, grind, and go out there and try to achieve greatness.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for us today. That is the Maniac, Mr. Marcus McGhee. I'm Carlo Prusa. Stick around, fight fans.